2007, an anonymous 4chan user uploaded a disturbing post with the words, "If anyone can correctly guess their own post number, I will tell you where she is buried." Eerily, the post was accompanied by an image of a teenage girl.
Minecraft Discord server.
For context, on 4chan, each thread is assigned a unique post number, which is completely random and serves as an identifier for that specific post. These kinds of posts where the OP would reward other users with something if they managed to guess their exact post number were pretty common. But the rewards themselves were rarely this dark and specific. You can probably understand how the creepy nature of this particular post instantly caught the attention of so many people. It's worth mentioning that the dates and times from the screenshots shown are the archive dates and times, meaning they're not accurate. But over the following minutes after the post was made, several other users jumped in to guess their post numbers. And just 15 minutes later, a user correctly guessed theirs. After which the OP made good on their promise and said, "Winner, here you go," and then a set of coordinates. Strangely, the coordinates pointed to a pretty random patch of trees on the side of a county road about 50 miles east of El Dorado, Kansas. But as it was later revealed,
I always wonder with these like crazy 4chan threads whether this is like all just like low-key rage bait or actually this stuff like really happened. There's one that I remember where someone found a grenade and they were like, "We're gonna put like top comment decides what I do with it," and someone said like hit it with a hammer, and then they never heard from them again. It might be in this list. Like I remember back in the day when I was at school, we used to sort of we were kind of like the nerdier kids, so we definitely used to sort of knock around on some of the forums. It was like some of the stuff was crazy. Like there was quite obviously that was like the OG memes. I remember like chilling on Reddit quite a lot. Every now and again, 4chan had quite a good like fitness board, but it was kind of mad. But this was way back in the day. I remember that's where I first, at like age of like 14, was considering taking steroids because everyone was like, "Oh, you definitely need to hop on." You were scared of 4chan. Yeah, it was quite intimidating. I can't lie. But that me and my group of friends, we were just like low-key, just like I don't know, a bit nutty.
There was nothing random about the location. The girl in the image in the anonymous...
Not surprised you're part of the nerds. I wouldn't say we were nerds. I would say we did spend a lot of time in the IT lab though.
This user's post was 18-year-old Emily Sander, a Butler Community College student.
Damn it, Basil, is this going to become a copy pasta? I remember back in the day when I was at school, we were nerds, so we used to knock around in the forums, obviously those who were OG memes.
Who had gone missing a little less than a week.
I remember back in the day when I was at school, we were nerds, so we used to knock around in the forums. Obviously those were the OG memes. 4chan kind of had some good fitness forums. This is where I considered taking steroids, but was scared to hop on. Gosh, damn it.
Disturbing post was made.
Don't make that a meme, bro. I don't want that as a bloody meme. Oh, no. Is this going to become... Boys, do not make videos about this. Oh no, this is gonna become one of those things. This is gonna be. I feel like this is. Oh no, what have we just created? Oh no, this is gonna become like that burger. There's a burger in Vegas. This feels like we're doing that same moment. Oh no. Definitely don't make any TikTok videos about this, boys. I remember back in the day when I was at school, we were nerds. We used to knock around in the forums. Obviously, those were OG memes. 4chan. Oh no, this is definitely gonna get clipped. That's not my purpose of why I was telling the story. Anyway, let's crack on.
Clothed body around an hour after the coordinates were revealed at the exact coordinates provided by the user.
That's mad.
It's important to mention that by the time the uploader revealed the coordinates on 4chan, the cops had already been investigating Emily's disappearance for a few days. And they were already zeroing in on a suspect. As the investigation had revealed, Emily had disappeared on November 23rd of that year after leaving a bar outside El Dorado with a man named...
It never started. Yeah, I never ended up taking steroids. But because do you know the main reason I didn't start taking steroids is because I have quite bad, I had really bad acne. Like if you look, I had acne literally all over, like on my chest, on my back, everywhere. It's most of it's gone, but you can still see the scars and stuff. Look at all these scars that were left from it. Like this goes all the way. Like it's literally, you can see all that red. That's all acne scars. Like my hormone system was messed up from the start. Like so if I had gotten, even though everyone was kind of talking about it, god damn it, everyone's doing the copy paste. I might ban this sentence from the stream. This is actually low-key bad. Okay, let's crack on with this video.
Israel Mirales. According to two witnesses, Israel had bought Emily and her friends drinks at a Chinese restaurant in El Dorado before accompanying them at a bar called The Retreat. After the two left the bar, Emily was never seen alive again. Following the finding
Oh, there's
of
two.
some
Hold
pretty
on.
compelling
Is there two? There's still two. Oh shit. Yeah. Why didn't you boys tell me that?
evidence of Israel's involvement in Emily's disappearance, the authorities put out a warrant for his arrest. But by then, Israel had already fled to Mexico. Fortunately, due to the severity of the crimes, the cops were able to extradite him back to Kansas for interrogation. During his testimony, the suspect claimed that after they had left the bar, he and Emily had gone back to a motel room together. According to his version of the events, at one point in the night, another man had shown up at the motel room and tried to rob him, after which he allegedly left the motel alone.
So was that the guy
When
who posted
came back
on
a few hours
4chan?
later, Sanders was supposedly dead. The story is already kind of hard to believe, especially when you factor in that after allegedly finding the lifeless victim in the room, Israel claimed that he panicked, put her body in the trunk of his car, and headed to a house where his 16-year-old pregnant girlfriend was staying in nearby Baxter Springs. Again, this was already a huge stretch, and it didn't exactly help Israel's case that investigators found a large knife and clothing with his DNA in a trash can at his girlfriend's home in Baxter Springs. When it was more than obvious that Israel was responsible for the crime, a judge sentenced him to life in prison without parole.
But was he the actual one who posted that?
As for the 4chan thread, I couldn't find any official confirmation.
Oh, what the hell's the point of this story then?
And it's worth mentioning that because the coordinates were revealed a little under an hour before the cops officially announced where they had found Emily, the thread could have been opened by someone on the police force who knew about the location.
That seems unlikely.
Still, there's a very real possibility that the 4chan post was uploaded by the killer himself, adding an even more disturbing layer to an already horrific crime.
That's mad.
On August 25, 2009,
this is the one I was talking about.
Opened a thread with the title, "Look What I Found." The
I remember
read,
this.
So I was looting through some stuff my dad left when he died, and I found this.
How old would I be in 2009? I think I saw the OG thread for this. Like, it was crazy.
The old bastard had a live grenade. It seems kind of old, but looks okay to me.
Is it this one?
What would the random board do with it?
No, the one I saw someone found
one.
one.
Of the OP's hand holding what appeared to be a live grenade. For the next
Damn it,
15
Basil.
minutes, the thread was flooded with all kinds
I wasn't
of comments
36
from
in
users
2009.
all around the world, with some claiming that the grenade was fake and asking the uploader for proof that it was made out of real metal and wasn't just a plastic imitation. Let me see the bottom of it. Bottom. It's plastic, lol. No plastic, dimwit. It's
Oh, he's put a lighter to it. To be honest, I don't think the stuff inside would it doesn't fire off like that. It depends what they use. I mean, I definitely wouldn't try that. For example, some high explosives you can burn like propellant. I don't know what ones it is, so definitely don't try that. But for example, I saw there was some videos of some soldiers who took, I can't remember what it was, whether it was rocket fuel or what it was. Basically, it was like, I think it was plastic explosive that they lit and used as like gas stoves. Not gas stoves. They made like little stoves with it. I can't remember which one it is, so definitely don't try that. Obviously, I mean, do I have to even say that?
It's all metal.
Just in case.
With this comment, the OP included an image of himself holding up a lighter to a grenade, which is obviously a horrific idea. Still, it was nothing compared to what was coming.
I didn't watch the video already.
Disturbingly, some of the other commenters encouraged the poster to throw the grenade in the toilet, saying things like, "Toss in toilet, don't flush, wait for epic fountain." You would think that the OP would be able to interpret the comment as a joke, but sure enough, a few minutes later he posted another image, this time showing his hand holding the live grenade over the toilet along with the caption, should I? This is where the story gets pretty disturbing.
How would we try? Do you think we have things in our house? No, but just in case, I don't ever want you guys coming back to this video being like, yeah, I tried that thing you talked about, and now I don't have, a hand anymore or some shit. So I'm just saying, never try it.
After posting this image, the OP suddenly went silent. Over the following minutes, other commenters jumped in to ask him what he ended up doing with the grenade. But there was no response.
This is not the one I
OP.
saw. I saw one where someone put it in a microwave.
A commenter uploaded a screenshot of an article that had been published by a news station in Guatemala that same day. Chillingly, the article broke the story of a 17-year-old
So have you just
boy
admitted
named
to having that in your
Oscar
house,
Lopez,
Basil?
who had passed away after detonating a live grenade in the back
Damn
of
it,
his
Zilla.
house.
Zilla, yeah, I was just saying to the lads, they were doing a copy pasta before, and it's something I like. They definitely shouldn't clip that and upload that because it might become like the burger meme. Oh, I'd hate that.
According to the article, the boy's dad had been involved in the military at some point, which explains why it was in his home. Because of the timing, most of the commenters concluded that Oscar Lopez was the OP and immediately condemned the...
I have been looking at Tesco fireworks to see what they've got. I think it's tomorrow, right? We'll get there. Don't rush through the segments, boys. Otherwise, it's a terrible stream. I remember back in the day when I was at school, we were nerds. So we used to knock around in the forums. Obviously, those were the OG memes. 4chan kind of had some good fitness forums. This was where I considered taking steroids, but I was too scared to hop on. Damn it, Basil. Stop doing the copy pasta.
The users who encouraged him to throw the grenade in the toilet. In the weeks following the incident, several news stations from Spanish-speaking countries published the story, which brought a lot of attention to the original thread on 4chan. Over the years, the story of Oscar's grenade has been reposted all over the internet thousands of times. And it's made its way into dozens of YouTube videos covering the most disturbing incidents caused by online threads. However, through my research, I wasn't able to find the original article or anything that would indicate that the story was real. Even after spending—
He's saying that after every single one.
—hours searching through online archives, I found absolutely no trace of the original article, which suggests that the article could have been faked. The only articles I did find were the ones that were published after the incident and cited only the original, non-existent article as their source. It's also pretty suspicious that the article was allegedly published pretty much within an hour of the OP's last comment, which further supports the idea that the whole thing was faked. It's possible that the OP himself could have posted—
Oh no, you boys are just copy and pasting that. Oh
the
no.
Photoshopped
Oh no, it'd be terrible if that becomes the next burger meme.
Screenshot from another
I'd hate that.
to get attention. Or that he could have made the original post and then went quiet to get a reaction from the crowd, after which another user could have jumped in to keep
everyone's just spamming it in my chat. I might have to ban it as a sentence.
Going with a fake news article. Although it's still very possible this is
Are you being serious?
The original article has just since been lost to time. Because the incident is over 15 years old at this point, we'll likely never know the whole truth.
Oh, great supportive chat I've got at the minute.
Back in 2009, dozens of 4chan users started to bring attention to a pretty strange phenomenon that was taking place all over the internet.
I remember back when on 4chan they would raid streams. Like, it was crazy. I remember watching, you'd see, like, they put the name of the streamer and then they see the raids. It was mad.
It's about key lime pie were
cropping up on
countless websites, blogs, and forums everywhere online. Although the original 4chan threads in which these discussions took place have since been deleted, I was able to find some more recent Reddit threads covering the same key lime pie phenomenon. In 2016, Reddit user KeyLimeWTF uploaded a long post about his or her
it'd be way too much to handle, bro.
Thing, and it read— So I'm just gonna throw this one out there since I haven't found it.
Actually, I won't say that.
Anyone who's investigated or discussed this super weird, almost nonsensical mystery. To begin, I was reading a story in my local college newspaper. In fact, it was the most read article on the site. There were 3 comments on the story itself, and one of them seemed utterly strange. There's an absurd amount of references to pop culture names as well as some political names. But the subject of every line relates back to, more often than not, these things. Mrs. Anita Pelaez, Captain Coochie Pelaez, Key Lime Pie, some Coochie's restaurant, North Carolina near the Biltmore Estate, Key West, Florida. And not every post is exactly the same, but some are. Some reference weird pop culture icons, while some just seem to be weird out-of-place pie recipes. The oldest post we found was from 2009, with the most recent being an awful TMZ story. Super weird, but if you were to Google or research those names associated with key lime pie, what you would discover is that this has been posted all over US media sites.
What?
A couple of things here that we discovered down the rabbit hole. Coochie's Key West Bar and Grill existed in one way or another. It's listed on local eatery websites and Google Maps, but there's really no—
Yeah, Zilla. To be fair, a few of the it was crazy, man. Sometimes it'd be like certain websites, and then sometimes it'd be like Twitch. I can't remember if it was Twitch. It was like sometimes it was just streams. Okay, I remember it was just streams.
Information as to what exactly it was. The majority of the posts we found were done by a Jake Carson, a fake name.
No, this is not real spam. TT115. This is like pretend spam.
By celebrity/political figures. Nothing totally makes sense, yet everything is related. Also, who would go through this much trouble for something as ridiculous as key lime pie for a restaurant that isn't real? I found that pretty much everything the OP was talking about in their post was perfectly true. There are indeed thousands upon thousands of—
Lawrence was the second being on the earth. Gosh damn it. That would make me Adam. Wait, would it? Oh, it made me Eve.
Strange comments and reviews about Captain Coochie's key lime pies on countless random
I'm not that old, boys.
Sites. And a lot of these comments have appeared on sites that have absolutely nothing to do with pi, such as this extremely long and somewhat inappropriate comment that was posted on a memorial site for a woman from San Jose who passed away at 74.
Damn it, Zilla.
As I also found, a lot of these comments are posted in articles and blogs revolving around suggestive content, such as this other one that appears in an article about a dating show. It reads, "That Captain Coochie Pelaez of Cucharidaville over in Asheville, North Carolina, sure enough is one wild and crazy guy.
What is this? I'm a bit lost on this story. I haven't really been paying attention.
Famous cheeseburgers and key lime pies. But even though these comments are definitely weird, these are just 2 of thousands of accounts that have been created to post these comments everywhere online. As you might have noticed, the phrasing of these rants seem to follow a bit of a
This is
pattern.
well before like AI and
pretty
stuff
much
as well.
all of the comments, almost all the words have been capitalized where they shouldn't be, and the poster always signs off in the same way, with 3 dots after the last word, followed by a fake name. I found that these
I wonder if this was an AI that they were testing before they even let the public know.
have also been made on random Facebook posts.
You need to
As you might have
investigate.
guessed, a bunch of people over the years have reached out to these Facebook accounts, and the responses they've gotten have been pretty disturbing, as you can see in this 2016 Reddit thread. The post reads, "I decided to send Coochie Pelaez a message and ask him when the world can know who Captain Coochie is. I didn't expect a reply, but roughly a month
That
later,
doesn't.
Coochie
I don't think that's Coochie. That's Coochie.
replied, 'There's just no medicine like an all-natural key lime pie made from scratch.' Plus a bunch of other garbled nonsense about key lime pie. After a little bit of back and
A
forth,
cat
the
playing
user
poker.
asked Captain Coochie for the
Suspicious.
address of the restaurant, and this was the response they got. Close your eyes, let your ears listen to the radio. Do you hear my voice? Can you hear your own soul scream? Let me choose. My voice that predicts the future or your tormented reach. What do you choose? You can choose. Your life, your future. As smart as you are, you may have already found out that the radio drama from 75 years ago was the truth. They are on our planet, and they watch and
Doesn't
see
work like that,
everything.
Barry.
Don't trust anyone. Don't trust the police. They are already controlled by them." And a few more lines of paranoid
I'm not
ranting.
56, and that's
Strangely,
56
the
is not
original
late
message
stage
was sent in
adolescence.
Swedish, which is the Reddit user's native language. What makes this disturbing is that there was nothing on the user's profile indicating that their first language was Swedish, which indicates that Captain Coochie could have stalked the user. And eerily, this wasn't the only time this happened. Whenever people reached out to these accounts to ask for information about the key lime pie phenomenon, they would often receive strange responses with very specific information about their lives that the key lime pie people had no reason to know. The rabbit hole in this mystery goes pretty deep, but some things have been confirmed to be true. For example, as mentioned in the Key Lime WTF's Reddit post, Coochie's Key West Bar and Grill was a real place in Asheville, North Carolina. According
I'm a bit
to
lost
dozens
on
of
this one, I
Reddit
can't lie.
users,
Like,
the
it was
original
quite
owners were
a big
Oswald
story.
C. Pelaez, aka Coochie, and his wife Anita Pelaez. But interestingly, even though the random comments and
That's a
reviews
pie
are
right
almost
there.
all about pie, the restaurant was actually known for its burgers. Still, despite this information, it's hard to understand where the connection is between the restaurant and the 15-year-long campaign to flood the internet with strange reviews about their
That's
key
so
lime
odd.
pies. Over the years, this has led thousands of people all over the internet to come up with all kinds of theories to explain the phenomenon.
It kind of just feels like it feels like a millennial meme. That's what if I had to say like what this seems like, it like the least sinister version of this. It seems like millennials trying to have a meme. That's what this feels like. It feels like a Reddit meme.
First theory is that all the
But I don't
comments and
know,
reviews
like
are
it's
coming from
really
a single poster.
strange.
Technically, this is a possibility. I mean, it's not uncommon for people with extreme obsessive personalities to become fixated on something as random as key lime pie
I
and
don't know what that
dedicate
is, Barry.
years to spreading bizarre content across the internet. However, the sheer volume of posts, accounts, and languages involved makes this kind of hard to believe. If you think about it, this would require the poster to individually open and verify thousands and thousands of sub-accounts, which would require a ton of different email addresses and more time than we can
Yeah, that's why I
imagine.
think it's multiple people
This is why
as
a
a
lot
sort
of
of
people have
joke.
suggested that all of these comments could be coming from a bot. The fact that all the
That's
comments are
mad.
written in a similar style makes this a possibility, but there's one major caveat here. Over the past couple of decades, Google has really cracked down on bot accounts, making it increasingly difficult for random bots to open accounts and post comments on random blogs and sites. And sure, this could be a pretty advanced bot that's been updated over the years to beat Google's security measures, but there's really very little motive for anyone to take the time to design something like this. So, in the absence of a solid explanation, some slightly more disturbing theories have been proposed by the online community. According to one of the most popular ones, these comments could be a coded method
would
of
not do that,
communication
Zilla.
for some sort of cult or underground organization with nefarious purposes.
That's
This
crazy.
could explain the endless, seemingly random pop culture references and indecipherable strings of garbled text with random capitalization. I also found some Reddit comments where the users alleged that Kuchi's Key West Bar and Grill was being used as a cover-up for something more sinister. For example, in 2017, a user posted a comment saying, "I grew up in Arden and drove by it nearly every day of my life and never once saw more than one car there. When I reached my 20s, I assumed it was a money laundering operation or something similar. A friend of mine actually ate there once many years ago. If I recall
Thanks,
correctly,
Barry.
it was empty and the food was unremarkable. It had never occurred to me to do the same." This is honestly just one of those mysteries that you could make an entire documentary series about and you'd still barely be scratching the surface. To
Maybe
this
we
day,
could
nobody
investigate
really
it one
knows
day.
where all these comments are coming from, who's posting them, and why or even how many people are involved in this
still
whole
going on?
campaign. And considering how deep the rabbit hole goes with this one, we can safely assume that it'll probably stay that way for a long time. On Christmas Day 2014, an anonymous 4chan user opened a pretty disturbing thread with the words, "I
He
bought
didn't
a
even
Wii
leave
U,
what he
but
ordered
it
at
was
the restaurant in
broken,
the
so I
review."
opened the Wii U, and this thing was inside.
What the hell is that?
this?"
A poop.
Next to the captions, the user uploaded a couple of images of some sort of
Someone's-
brown, oval-shaped
It looks like a
object
poop.
inside the console. At first glance,
That's
the
a
OP
poop.
thought it was probably something an animal had left in there.
It's a poop.
But a few minutes later, he followed up with some images that looked like something straight out of a nightmare.
It's a poop.
Apparently, the brown object was some sort of spider nest, and as soon as the OP cracked it open,
What
it
the
looked
fuck?
like this. A few
That's
minutes
not a
later,
poop.
the poster commented, "At least the spiders are already dead. Whatever happened, it's
I
an
once
egg
found.
opened
Oh man, I once found. Actually,
too
I won't tell the
soon or an
story.
egg that never managed to open.
Never mind that story.
The spiders must have devoured each other to stay alive and eventually grew to max capacity and truly died. The size shows they're adults, but the color shows they literally have no plating or skin. 3 minutes later, the OP gave a chilling update saying, this one was still alive. And this is where the thread starts to get a little disturbing. Just a few seconds later, another user commented on the post saying, okay, I googled it for you, OP. That's a dirt dauber nest. The spiders are paralyzed inside of it. If they're not dead by now and they're actually fresh catches, they're gonna be waking up
That's
soon."
crazy.
And responding to the image of the live spider the OP posted, the user warned, this spider kind of looks like a brown recluse. If you let it sting you,
Dude.
your arm is gonna start rotting while you're alive. Responding to the original picture of the spiders, another
Bro
user
clutched up the
commented,
gulag.
by the looks of it, the last one just woke up, and the dirt dauber might not even have started laying its larvae yet. If that's the case, these might all just be paralyzed. Also, I'm afraid for OP's life, since the spider that did wake up looks like a brown recluse, and if that's actually the case, the OP has a dirt dauber nest full of brown recluses. He's
Oh
in
my
for one
God.
hell of a ride. Over the next several minutes, dozens of other users jumped in the chat to warn the OP not to provoke the spiders under any circumstances.
How'd you not provoke a
Fortunately-
spider? What the hell? I feel like they low-key just get provoked at everything.
Shortly after, the OP posted a final update to the thread saying, OP here, they weren't dead and they started to move. I ran out of my house
Oh
and
my
called
God.
the exterminator.
I always
I'm
feel
posting
like
from my
with the OP, they always make the wrong move. What do you mean? You didn't like put them in a container? That's what I'm saying. Zilla, that's what I'm saying. Why did you you left them just all out and about? Oh, what?
cell phone. It's
That's
pretty
like the worst possible move.
disturbing to think that a nest of
Flamethrower
poisonous
leave.
spiders
Yeah,
could
too,
be
bro. I can tell you're from Reddit, bro.
growing inside of one of your consoles without you knowing it. And according to another commenter,
The narwhal has baconed.
it's actually pretty common for dirt daubers
Yo,
to
big up
do
Reddit,
this.
Unfortunately.
Thankfully, it looks like the OP was okay. In March 2020, an anonymous 4chan user posted an image of a missing girl named Lisa Irwin, along with a set of coordinates that point to a
Another
random
one like
location
this. This
in
was
the
the
middle
first
of the
one.
trees somewhere in Lakeside Village, Kansas. For context, Lisa had gone missing in October 2011 when she was just
Zilla,
a
this is
10-month-old
4chan.
baby.
4chan threads.
That day, Jeremy Irwin,
But
Lisa's dad,
what's
came
really
back from
like
work
how
at 4
significant
a.m.
is the
and
difference
immediately
between
called the
4chan and
cops when he
Reddit
saw
these
his
days?
daughter was
Well,
missing
back then
from her
anyway.
crib.
These days it's quite
Disturbingly,
different.
He mentioned to his wife Deborah
Right
that
then
the
it was
front door
basically
was
the same
unlocked
people.
and that 3 cell phones were missing. During the investigation, a bunch of really strange things started happening, and it was hard for the cops to make sense of anything. Even though some witnesses had reported seeing a strange man carrying a baby wearing a diaper near the area where Lisa had gone missing, they didn't have enough evidence to arrest a particular suspect. Surveillance video from the area showed a man dressed in white leaving a wooded area near the Irwins' house at 2:30 a.m. But the suspect the cops
in a strange way, I would say that like 4chan has more impact on the internet today than Reddit does. Like I genuinely think like it still has a far significantly bigger impact on the internet generally. Like I feel like the sort of the force of where you used to see a lot of memes basically start on 4chan, then move to Reddit, and then kind of become like move out onto the wider internet. But it's and I guess like this is both of them were replaced in a lot of ways by TikTok. Like you really don't see any like 4chan or Reddit memes on TikTok, to be honest. It's kind of like that. That's why like all of the new memes like are all through TikTok.
The result of the footage had rock solid alibis.
And YouTube as well, I guess.
When the cops searched the Irwins' house that same year, dogs picked up the scent of a dead body in Deborah's bedroom. When the authorities confronted her about it, she claimed she didn't initially look for her daughter because she was afraid of what she might find. This was just the first in a series of strange claims and contradictions that Lisa's mom would find herself in. Later, she would allege that the last time she had seen her baby, it had been around 10:30 p.m.
That's so sad,
but after, she confessed that she had been drinking with a friend and didn't remember when the last time she saw her daughter was. Investigators also accused Deborah of failing a lie detector test, and even her own best friend told the police that Deborah had a dark side and that she believed she could have been responsible for the disappearance of her own daughter.
Yo, that looks scary, man.
Strangely, the cops later found that one of the 3 cell phones that were taken from the house had made a 50-second call late on the night Lisa went missing. But both Deborah and Jeremy denied making the call. When the cops investigated the call, they found that it had been made to a Kansas City woman named Megan Wright. Interestingly, Megan had once been in a relationship with a suspect in the case, a drifter who lived in a halfway house close to the Irwins.
What the fuck?
Still, she denied being the one who had picked up the phone on the night of Lisa's disappearance. To this day, the cops are convinced that whoever made that call is responsible for whatever happened to Lisa, but in the absence of new evidence, the case went cold for a very long time. The image you see in the 4chan thread is actually an age-progressed picture released by the authorities to help the public identify the victim, and it shows what Lisa would have looked like at 7 years old. As soon as the user posted the coordinates, some of the commenters started suspecting that the OP was the perpetrator, and that the coordinates pointed to the location in the middle of the woods where Lisa's body was located. One user commented, "I just emailed this thread to 2 local NBC affiliates in Kansas that cover the Thompsonville and Oskaloosa area. Hopefully this is legit and we can finally do some good and bring peace to a family." But even though a lot of people got in touch with the police over the leaked coordinates, frustratingly, nothing
I think it was
really
an
came
age
of them.
representation, Luke.
And it's unclear if the cops just didn't investigate the coordinates, or if they did but they didn't find anything there. To this day, Lisa's disappearance has created more questions than answers.
That's true, TT115.
Was it the guy who was seen in the surveillance
Rod?
footage? Was it the parents? Or the 4chan user? We'll likely never know.
Chill, Punishy.
As you probably know, one of the most popular features of 4chan was that it allowed its users to stay completely anonymous, which was part of the culture of the forum.
Yeah, Zilla. Obviously, I always just think back to the Boston Bomber investigation that happened on Reddit. Like, obviously, people were trying to do good, but man, someone lost their life over that. That was crazy. It's like the rules in terms of what you could do on subs on Reddit changed significantly after that, but it still kind of does happen where like you have a whole bunch of people come together to like investigate stuff.
Some users chose to have a username to put more weight behind their words and engage in genuine social interactions with others. This was the case with user UTV, who was very active on the 4chan sports board back in the day. Based on his post, UTV was an Englishman who followed the Premier League, was a fan of Aston Villa striker Christian Benteke, and hated Manchester City.
Oh, still
Most of his interactions in the boards he participated in are pretty much exactly what you'd expect from a slightly aggressive sports fan in an online board. But there was one thing that made UTV's post stand out in the sea of 4chan threads. Strangely, UTV had a secret admirer, an anonymous user who tracked, archived, and followed every single one of UTV's posts and comments across more than 250 threads.
Yo, Fazza.
Whenever UTV posted anything, the anonymous user would archive his posts, comment on them, and summarize his activities with perfect precision. At first, it was kind of funny, and it seemed like the user was just a troll who liked to mess with UTV for no particular reason. And it seemed like the trolling had the desired effect, as UTV would often blurt out some pretty aggressive comments at the anonymous user, frustrated with the level of obsession the user had developed towards him. In one thread, UTV commented, "Archiving my posts in here is one thing, but you're actually stalking me in other threads too. Get a life." After weeks of
Road, it's the
stalking
same
and
react that
obsessing
Joe
over
did.
UTV's every
Disturbing
move,
4chan
the user
threads.
earned himself the nickname The Archiver from other board members who
That's
found his
mad.
activities hilarious. Unfortunately for UTV, the more he engaged with the Archiver, the more the Archiver would obsess over logging, categorizing, summarizing, praising, and decorating his posts. And like I said, at first it was kind of funny, especially if you were just a random 4chaner watching the whole thing
I don't know,
develop
Zilla.
from a distance. But after a few weeks, the plot took a
So
pretty
much time.
creepy turn. In July 2013, the Archiver was no longer satisfied with simply logging the posts, so he started composing songs and poems based on UTV's interests and personality, including a limerick that read, "There was once a young Phil from Kent who loved to call Frodo an ent. He bet against Villa in a 3-1 thriller. They lost and his money was sent."
It's not a bad poem.
It's worth noting that UTV's real name was actually Phil, meaning the Archiver had started finding out more and more personal information about him as time went on.
That's crazy.
Over the following weeks, the Archiver progressed from songs and poems to other kinds of worship and obsession, which included making ink blot tests featuring UTV's posts,
What the
as well as
fuck?
designing detailed floor plans for the home he would like to live in if he and
What is
UTV ever
this?
moved in together. He even made preparations for UTV's funeral with detailed instructions for his family
Whoa.
to follow on the day of the ceremony.
Whoa.
The madness continued for several weeks until on October 7, the Archiver made his final post about UTV in the TRB board saying, "I have been with UTV for 255 threads. This is the last one. My parents have discovered my UTV works and they have insisted I remove
Bro, trust
everything
me.
of the type from my computer and be done with it.
This sounds
They will
fake.
be monitoring
That
my
sounds
activities
fake.
now to ensure I cannot do it anymore. This is my final message. I'm sorry to UTV and I hope he sees this and understands. I have one more gift to share with him. This 97-page document contains
What the
every
hell?
personal work I've created that
What
involves
the hell?
UTV in any way. It is for him. I do not want anyone else to read it. However, I cannot stop you from doing so."
Whoa.
As the
whoa,
entire
whoa.
internet soon found out, the Archiver wasn't lying about the document. He
Do you think,
literally
Luke?
compiled an almost 100-page PDF featuring everything he had
freaky.
written and designed over almost 5 months of insane obsession over a random dude on 4chan. The Phil Marillion, as the Archiver titled the document, contained detailed information about Phil's posts, his interests, and his interactions with the Archiver. On the front page, an explanation for the document reads, "Why am I doing this? Because UTV is my passion, my hobby, and my social life. I love him, and I love archiving his posts. Archiving his posts isn't enough. They are my bread and butter, but this is the salt and pepper on the sandwich
What
that
the
spices it up."
What?
The rest of the 97-page document is about as crazy as you'd expect from
Yeah,
a guy
Zil,
who
I do
spent
wonder.
all his waking
Like
hours
this
stalking-
level of, to be honest, if he he's just got extreme tunnel vision on this for whatever reason. This level of dedication, if you just put this to something useful, you can do anything.
Another guy on 4chan. It contains detailed stories and fantasies involving the Archiver and UTV, a detailed plan to make UTV like him more, pictures of
HND.
inventions and gadgets the Archiver
Who's HND?
designed using snippets of UTV's posts, an incredibly dark and meticulously planned blueprint to abduct UTV and hold him hostage for £40 million, and so much more stuff that you can't even imagine. When the Archiver shared his masterwork, Phil responded only with a question mark and then vanished forever from 4chan. To this day, the internet still doesn't know what to make of the Archiver or his motivations
Was that a
behind
joke to you,
obsessing
bro?
over a stranger to such an insane degree. Some allege mental illness, others think the
That
Archiver
joke went so far above my head, bro. That must have been about 6. That must have been about 7 foot. Since I'm exactly 6'1", 6 foot. That must have been about 7 foot. That went over my head so
just
far.
genuinely loved Phil.
No, like 8 foot even.
But whatever the case, the PDF served as a wake-up call to be careful who you talk to or give information about yourself online, because you never really know what.
Well,
they're
that's
doing.
a good note to leave me on with the stream. Thanks, brother. Crazy. Yeah, I remember this one story. There's this one kid at my school. I won't say who it was for because I don't think he does the sort of content anymore. But someone posted, I know that someone at school posted it onto, like, he had this series of YouTube videos, and it was just him doing whatever. And so, like, someone posted this onto 4chan. It went viral on 4chan, then that blew up his YouTube channel. And from that moment on, he became like a massive, it was like a huge meme at the time. And it all started because these, like, low-key, these kids, these weren't, it's funny because these were kind of like the nerdy kids as well, but these were kind of like they were like a different group of nerdy kids than I was in. I was in like a less mean group of nerdy kids. These were like slightly mean nerdy kids who went on to hang out with like the kind of cooler kids, and they would do, like, I thought that was a bit mean, but they did kind of start this guy's career, but then he kind of, I don't think he did anything with it, but yeah, ended up getting like millions of views on his YouTube channel. But I just remember them talking about it. I remember hearing about it. One meme and you'll get that 100 viewers. Trust me, bro. We gotta find our meme. I don't think it will be on 4chan, our meme, but we gotta find our meme. I low-key would be slightly scared with 100 4chan chatters.